Survival YouTube. Supporting my boy Danny at Cajun Hydroponics. This is Rob, the Sapper gardener at Essayons Family Garden. And we have been tagged. We've been tagged in quite a few videos lately, and I'm behind on pretty much all of them. But today we got a surprise rain shower. It was supposed to be a clear day today. I thought I was going to finally be able to get out and cut the grass over in Micro Orchard 2, but the rain put a kibosh on that. So it rained pretty heavy for about an hour, and then it stopped. Now it's just wet outside, wet and a bunch of mosquitoes. But I figured it would be a good time to go ahead and knock out one of the tags. Costa over at the Costa Survival channel, he tagged us to do a after-action review, lessons learned from recent events. So I figured I would sit down for a few minutes and I would go through probably the top 3 lessons, maybe talk about some other things. Just I guess we could call this a patio chat. I'm out here, it's wet, but it's always good being out in the garden anytime. So I think the purpose of the tag is just to talk about things that have happened this year, how they've affected us, you know, what we've learned, what we can do different. And when Costa tagged me, I told him, you know, I'm not a prepper or a survivalist. I try to be prepared for pretty much anything. I hope we can survive in adverse situations, and I am retired military combat engineer, Sapper. So I do have, you know, I'd like to say they're a unique set of skills, but I don't want, you know, that guy from the movie thinking that I'm horning in on his territory. But I do have some skills gained during my time in the military, some skills I've gained outside of the military, and they help us with a lot. But we're a gardening channel, so I want to make sure I keep the focus on things that we have learned within our home that mostly relate to the garden, cooking, things like that. And so with that being said, the first thing that I've learned is you cannot cut corners on some things this year. Well, let me back up. One of the first things that we did when we moved to this home was we started looking into local laws and regulations, codes, ordinances, as far as you know, homesteading, things that we could do, things we couldn't do. When we initially moved in to our current property, we were part of a HOA, which has thankfully since been dissolved. But in our area, there was an ongoing communications, you know, board meetings to see if we could raise backyard chickens. Some people in the community had them, some couldn't, depending on the size of your property. Some people were just raising them despite it being against the county code. But right after we moved, about a year after we moved here, it finally got legally approved on our size property. We're on a 2-acre lot to be able to have chickens. So in our area, if you're on a small plot, I want to say it's a 1/4 acre or 1/10 acre, something like that, you can have 2 chickens. If you have a plot up to X size, you can have 3, you know, all the way up to 5 acres, which you can have 6. So we're in that area. We only have 2 acres, but 2 acres we're allowed to have 6 chickens in our backyard. So we were happy to be able to get that, because we, even not raising them as meat birds, we could get fresh eggs, we could get the byproducts, the chicken manure that we could use in our garden. So we were happy, you know, raising chickens, and just lots of things that you can do when you raise your own chickens, because you know the quality of the eggs that you're getting. And you know, like a lot of people who get into raising backyard chickens, I put the cart before the horse. I was in a Tractor Supply one day. I came out, there was a guy in the parking lot with chickens on the back of his pickup truck. I said, you know what the heck, I'll get some chickens, because we knew that, you know, now we were approved to have chickens in our backyard. So I got the chickens, the chicks. I knew it would be a few weeks before we would have to move them out, because this is February, March time frame-ish. So I knew I had time to get a coop, you know, build a run, all that. So I got the chickens, and then I went about building a run for the coop. I bought a small coop from Leonard. Leonard's a company known for trailers and things like that, sheds. So we got a little small coop. It was supposed to hold 6 birds, but it was really realistically only big enough for 4 birds. So I got that coop while the chicks were downstairs in the basement, you know, growing, doing their thing. I got the bright idea to use cattle panels to build a run. So I built a run with cattle panels. I laid chicken wire over it. I put some tarps over a section of it so that they would have a dry area to come out to peck the scratch in, and I put it together. When the chickens got, you know, big enough, we put them out there, and I kind of crossed my fingers because I thought the run was secure, and the run actually was secure. It went about 3 years before we lost our first bird, and then we just over and over, you know, one would get taken, you know, I'd go find a hole, I'd patch it up, you know, 6, 7, 8 months later, one would get taken, I'd go find a hole, I would patch it up. And just looking back on it, this year it just came to a head because we just started losing them more and more often, and it was just the design of the run that I built was not, it was serviceable if you don't mind going out buying chickens, and some people don't care, you know, if chickens are $4 or $5 a chick, you know, if you lose 2, you just go and you buy 4 more. You lose 1, you just go buy 4 more. And some people think like that, but we don't. We are fairly frugal. We try not to be wasteful in our purchases. So this year we finally lost our last 2 that we had, and I almost said in the back of my mind, if we lose all our birds, then, you know, it's time to do something different. And we lost the last 2. You know, it was disheartening, but that was a lesson learned that sometimes you have to slow down, and you have to look at things, and you have to plan a lot better, because, you know, people say it's only chickens, but life is life. You know, if we're raising chickens, that's our livestock. You know, we're responsible for them. So that was one of the toughest lessons that just finally came to a head this year. And now I've sat down. I am a combat engineer. I'm used to building things. You know, I know how to build decent structures. I know how to look for weak points, and you know, I really just needed to slow down to do that for this. Yeah, we got a lot of bees buzzing around the deck. The rain didn't bother them at all. So that was a main lesson. You know, there's a channel that we watch pretty frequently. I'm not going to name drop because they're a bigger channel and they don't need to be name dropped. But one of the mottos that they put out a few years ago was done is better than perfect. And when you're homesteading, a lot of times done is better than perfect, because sometimes you just don't have time to sit for months to, you know, plan on what you're going to do to fix something. And you know, that is, you know, we still believe done is better than perfect in most cases, but when it comes to livestock and protecting them, you know, one small mistake could be the end of it. So for the next coop build, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to try to build the coop properly and run properly, so that we don't have to worry about weak spots. We don't have to worry about you know, zip cords rusting or corroding in the sun, creating weak spots. So this time we're going to build it, you know, to last, and hopefully to have no issues, which nothing's 100%, but hopefully no issues. So that's first thing this year, because with everything going on, having those eggs as a protein source, as a food source, it's going to be missed until we get everything done up properly again. So that will be the first thing. Second thing is sometimes you need to concentrate on what you have before you add onto your plate. And I love multitasking. I love doing multiple things at once, but sometimes you have to say, let's not start on a new project until we get the old project built. And we've got some projects on the homestead that I'm always thinking, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do to make things easier, better? So I'm always adding garden beds. I'm always renovating garden beds. I'm always looking at new plants to get out. And we have 2 spaces we call the boneyard 1, boneyard 2, because I'm not that creative. And we've got materials over there, which is thankful that we have a spot to stage things. But I've got to put some rain barrels together. I've got to build bases for the rain barrels. I've got cattle fennel fences I need to get up. So there's always tons of projects, and again, none of those projects are life or death, have to be done right away. But I think going forward, I'm going to try to focus a little bit more on specific projects and not get sidetracked by other projects and then have to go back and forth and have to wonder, one case in point, we have solar panels in our garage, which another silver lining with the chicken coop rebuild. When I rebuild it, I'm going to build a load-bearing roof so that we can put our solar panels on that, and that way we can have power out at our storage shed, power at the chicken coop if we want to put a water heater in there, for their water in the wintertime. But that's a project that's been on the back burner for 2 years at least. And we're going to focus on getting specific things done, because if there's food shortage, if there's power outages, things like that, we definitely want to be as prepared as possible. And just having too many projects, it's fun to always have something to keep you busy, but sometimes focus on the things that you have, and that will it'll just ease the mind to say, yep, I got this, I got it done, I put the appropriate focus on it, and we got it done right. So that's the second thing. And third thing is just a little bit more positive. It's been a great year in the garden. Not everything has turned out perfect, but as far as things growing, we've got our main crops of things that we grow, our tomatoes, our potatoes, our peppers, our bitter melon, our cucumbers, things like that we grow have done great this year, and we've gotten great harvest. Some of our videos we've shown that. We have added some new plants in, and this year we have gotten just phenomenal harvest, in places that we didn't expect to get a phenomenal harvest. Our fruit trees are starting to bear fruit, so we've gotten tons of pears this year. We've gotten some apples. I won't say tons of apples, but we've started getting apples off of the fruit tree. Something I didn't expect this year, we got peaches off of our peach tree. We always get some figs. Our kiwi fruit is finally bearing fruit. Our nut trees, at least the pecans, are starting to bear fruit. So, patience in the garden, it's bearing off, and that's nice to see, because during the pandemic, there were lots of things that were not on the store shelves. There are things that are priced out of this world. I was actually online yesterday looking at garden soils. I went to a local garden center and I got some garden soil, some compost, some mulch, Not one of the big box stores, a local owned business. And I got that, and I came back, and I almost had in my mind what I thought I remembered paying at the big box store, but I didn't quite remember. I knew I got a better deal at the local garden center. So I went online and I priced the garden soil, and I paid $7 a cubic yard. No, $7 for 2 cubic yards at the garden center. So I went online, and I don't know what possessed me to look at this particular store, which I won't name, but it's probably the largest big box store that everybody goes to. Everybody makes fun of it, but they do have some great deals when you go in there. Things are always on sale. The garden center toys, seasonal things. So I said, well, let me go online and see how much this bag of garden soil would be if I got it from them. And I was shocked. I saw a price of the bag, which I will put up on the screen here, and I saw that, and I was like, this is insane, highway robbery type prices. So then I went to a big box garden store that I like to go to because they give a military discount, and I usually go and I get it there in person anyway, but this store has stopped delivering during this crisis that we're in. And I looked at their price online. The price was the same, but it said, and I'll put a picture of it up here also, and it says available for in-store purchase only. So one was $20+ at the most famous big box store, and it's not a garden specific store. They sell everything. And I said, that's ridiculous. But if it came down to it, and some people had to get soil from them because they don't have a truck or trailer, they can't go out to get that, would people actually be willing to pay that price to get that garden soil? Or if things got worse crisis-wise, which hopefully it doesn't, hopefully things get better, if you feel at risk going out, but you have to go out anyway to this other garden center big box store, which you can get it at regular price, would you do that? And thankfully we're in a position where if we had to order, we could. I wouldn't pay 20 some odd dollars for a bag of garden soil, no matter how bad it got. And I feel healthy enough going into the garden center, to pay that if I have to. I have a trailer. I can go in. I can order it online. I can go there, pick it up, put it on my trailer. Or actually, you can't order online. I'm sorry, I misspoke. You have to go into the store to order garden soil, mulch, compost, things like that. And it's just, I was shocked. But when I went to the local big box store, the local garden center store, I ordered it online. They gave me a discount for ordering online. I drove there. I gave the person, the young lady working the desk, I gave her the paper showing what I ordered. That was it. That was the only interaction I had. I went up to her. She was behind a glass shield. Had a little slot. I slid it in. She looked at it. She said, okay, you're good to go. She gave me my receipt. I paid for it. Very little personal interaction. Left out, drove my truck with my trailer around. A guy came out with a forklift, loaded everything on my trailer, and I came home. So I felt much more comfortable. And we just have to do more things like that. If things go the way that they are now, and I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists that says that everything going on is a hoax. I don't worry about things like that because I'm not a scientist. I can't prove it, disprove it. I'm not going to listen to one talking head over another. If the government says we need to do certain things, then I'm comfortable doing that because my family's safety is priority one. But just knowing the difference in my local garden center, the big box garden center, and that big box store, which we will leave unnamed, it's just, you have to do some research and you have to do what's best for your situation, and you just have to be prepared to change the way you do things for the best. And that was a little bit of a rant / ramble, but things that we've learned, do things right when you can so that you are prepared no matter what happens. Don't stretch yourself too thin as far as what you're trying to get done at one time, because sometimes focusing on one or two projects gives better results. And just researching and doing what needs to be done and having patience to hopefully get good results from what you've put into it. And the garden has been a really good result. I'm not a master gardener by any means, but I'm not a new gardener. I know how to do most things. If I slow down, I remember. Like, I have my iPad here in front of me and I have my iPhone in my pocket. So now we do reminders. I have reminders, spray horticultural spray. I have reminder, put out milky spore powder, in August for the Japanese beetles, because the milky spore helps treat for them, but you have to put it out at a certain time in their life cycle for it to be effective. Just giving yourself reminders of what you do, and then you generally reap a better harvest for it. So, Costa, I hope I succeeded in this mission. After action review, which is something I've done thousands of when I was in the military. Every time we went out on a mission or we did a training simulation, we come back, we do an after action review. What went well, what didn't go well, what can you do different, and we just try to apply that to the garden. I try to apply. My wife's never been in the military, and I try not to treat her and the kids like they're a government issue. No GI issue here, but that's ours. I'm going to stick with it. Hopefully this was not too all over the place, and I accomplished the mission. So, as always, this is Rob, the Sapper Gardener, representing Essayons Family Garden. God bless our great country America, you, wherever you reside around the world, your garden, your harvest, your kitchen, your meals, and especially your family, to have health, success, and prosperity in these troubling times. And I guess it's appropriate. I did an after-action review, and I'm wearing my U.S. Army Combat Engineer cap. That was not planned at all. So, and thanks again to our friend Danny at Cajun Hydroponics for the sweet t-shirt. We wear it proudly, brother. Take care. Sapper out.